Alright, so Joker 2 of Folie Deux is officially released, and even that this is the musical sequel, and this film is not for everyone. But now we are moving into spoiler territory as I'm breaking down of how this movie ended, why it's so divisive, as not what everyone expected it to be, and to give you my full spoiler thoughts and review about the entire movie in general, and why I think it is underwhelming, but at the same time, it is sort of good as well, but not so much. And so, if you're new, then be sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell so it's on any future videos, including this. But now, let's talk about this movie. And now, with the movie overall itself, as I had more time to reflect on this movie, and with the fans and critics' response to this movie, and now it's extremely now more divisive now than ever because of its main themes, or what they set out this film to be, and even from the movie starts and how it finishes, even though for how it starts is that with a little animated short, which I thought it wasn't part of the movie, but in fact that's exactly how the film opens, with Arthur going on the Murray Franklin show as Joker, and then at the end, he shoots Murray Franklin and transforming himself into the Joker, and this was an animated short that played into the film. But even though we spend the entire movie with Arthur in Arkham State Hospital and into meeting Harley Quinn, played by Lady Gaga, and just with the story and the plot that is fed into it, I think it is sort of dreadful that most people think. But I think, like, with this movie's like divisiveness, but I don't think it's a terrible or such a bad movie, but I think it is sort of underwhelming, like, with the way that they play into that. I mean, I don't think it's feeding anything new to the table. It's basically like an epilogue for how the first movie ended, but now going into this sequel, I feel like it's a continuation of that goes on for far too long. And even though with the musical numbers that they chose for this movie, I liked it, but it doesn't like fit into the overall story. Like, I liked it, but at the same time, it sort of like stretches it out like too thin to what the story actually means. I mean, I like Joaquin Phoenix and Lady Gaga's chemistry on screen together. I thought they are amazing. But what is the story actually being told here with these two? I mean, because even with the movie's title of Folie Deux, it's like Italian for madness for two. But I feel like it focuses more on Arthur's aspect. At times we see them two together, fall in love, and just like be in musical numbers. I thought this was gonna be like a Joker movie, but instead they made this into a musical by turning a psychopath maniac menace into a singer. With the courtroom drama scenes that I want to add on more is that with Harvey Dent in the picture, which was sort of good, which I enjoyed, but it was alright. But then you have like some main characters from the first movie make an appearance as witnesses, because with Arthur, who is in a Joker personnel that committed all these crimes, and essentially is a psychopathic menace, because even though at the end of the first movie, that's what Gotham has been made to be because of him. And for the fact they also brought in Gary as a witness after he saw his friend Randall being murdered by Arthur before the Murray Franklin show. But I feel like this is what like a rehash, like a sort of is. It's sort of moving in like a boring and meaningless direction. Like this is like nothing new. Like this is like basically telling what happened at the end of the first movie without getting some sort of clarity. But the one thing that I do want to point out is that like with this shot of Joker and Harley Quinn dancing on the steps, like I feel like there was like a musical number added onto this. It was nowhere in the film, and I feel like it would have been longer, but I feel like with the scenes that happen with Arthur in the Arkham Hospital, they would have been like cut down a little bit, but it was such filler. But I feel like this would have been like a musical number. Again, that was in the trailers. It was marketed in there, but I feel like there was like so much stuff that was like cut out from this film that totally would have made it better, or like added some new ideas. But no, like literally they spent the entire movie in Arkham Hospital with Arthur and courtroom drama and being interviewed by the press of all the crimes that he's committed, and it's just like a mess. And on top of that, you got Lee telling Arthur that she is pregnant, and she and her father moved into Arthur's apartment, at which I thought it was really weird and odd, especially for how these two met for the first time, and now like with Harley Quinn that is now in Arthur's apartment, in which like he does not live there anymore, and just with their relationship, and thought they were going to live together as Joker and Harley Quinn. I thought it was just outright weird. And now, let's go over the ending to this movie, and that is with Arthur. In his Joker personality, he completely abandons that and confesses about all the crimes that he's committed, and that is with the subway murders and shooting Murray Franklin, and with the jury that he finds him guilty. And then after that, with the courtroom, it just gets completely blown up by a car bomb and injuring and killing others. And then with Arthur, he manages to escape, especially with the other Jokers that help him escape the courtroom, and then I didn't go up to escape, but now like even like this is the most like insane ending that I have ever seen, and I completely did not expect this. And now with Arthur, he tries to escape it with the two other Jokers that are trying to go after him, and I was wondering where they were going to take him, but like now of what it leads to be. But I feel like it's just like a mess for how this movie ended up to be. And then with Arthur, who reunites with Harley Quinn, telling her that like his Joker personality is gone, that he is free, and that like he wants to take Harley Quinn, and they want to go off together. But then with Harley, like she completely rejects him. Even with Harley Quinn, that did not like the idea of Arthur letting go of his identity as the Joker, as this is a psychopath maniac that like did all this, and even that it was like a fantasy that they had. I distinctly have like a feeling that with the creative choices that this movie went with, it's just like totally like out of place. And now with the final scene of this movie is with Arthur thinking that he has a visitor coming to see him in the Arkham Hospital, but then with Arthur that he is approached by Ricky, who tells him that he is obsessed with him, and like sort of tells him a joke, and then he kind of says, "You get what you effing deserve." And then immediately after that, he stabs Arthur, and then just leaves Arthur there bleeding to death, and essentially he dies. And then with the patient that like draws like a smile on his face, like I think it's sort of indicating that the next Joker is coming. I don't know, in James Gunn's DC universe. Or I think this is probably setting up a new Joker coming into place. And then with the final shot is with Arthur like a bleeding to death, especially with the blood from his lip, and that's like dripping. But now it fades to black, and even for what I thought of the ending, man, like I was totally not expecting that. But I think it was like the worst way for the movie to end off, and I think people did not like this ending. Like I mean, so am I. But I think this definitely raises like a ton of questions about what's going to happen next with Arthur Fleck's future in the DC universe. But with Arthur Fleck just like gone, dead, and now I think like it sort of lies here. I totally think that this movie, it was definitely not good. It was not great or fantastic by any means. It's just on the parts of solid and decent. Again, I gave it like a very solid rating. And I feel like this was a sequel that was unnecessary, and the fact that this was a rehash of what the first movie intended to be. But the fact that this movie was spent in Arkham Hospital with Arthur and turning it into a musical, I feel like that was sort of filler. That was not executed properly, but I feel like they could have handled this better. And just it was like an off the rails movie, but it's something that I was not a fan of. But I found it like pretty good and decent. But again, it's just not a terrific movie. And yeah, these are my thoughts. But that's going to do it for this video. Just let me know in the comments below and know what did you think of Joker, Folie, and Deux, and if you've seen it, and what did you think about the ending and about the whole movie in general. Just let me know in the comments. Don't forget to like the video and subscribe and turn the notification bell for future videos. Also follow all my social medias, all of which are linked down below. And with that, I'll see y'all next video. Peace.